Okay, so what we're gonna do is the same thing that we did on chapter one, which was we got something in our mind and we creating some type of some revenue analysis based on some numbers, some items, and some regions, and we're gonna make this prettier. Uh, we're gonna actually present it to our boss or supervisor, and then they probably give you this like that. He just type it in or she type it in and say, "Oh, can you make this pretty because you're the Excel or genius in the office." Okay, so you got this and say, "Okay, no problem." Okay, uh, notice a couple things here that uh, again, Excel is divided in columns: column A, column B, column C, column D, E, and F. F happens to be the last column. Okay, so I want to make this Kalen candle the title. So I want to expand that title to all the columns, so it's going to be nice and even. So I have to do what is called selection and select all the different columns where I'm going to merge them into one. Remember that selection is always in the center of the cell and it's a white cross. If you see a black cross like that, it's a field handle. That's not for selecting, that's for copying. So if I do this, look what happens. It copies in all the cells, which is not the intention. So selecting is always in the center of the cell. So you select, hold the mouse, and drag it to column F. Why column F? Because column F is the last column. So after I have that selected, I'm gonna go into my home tab and notice that I have conditional formatting on the styles, format as a table, and cell styles. So I'm gonna look for title. And I'm gonna click on title. I notice that it changed the, I haven't merged them yet. But it's changed the title, made them 18, and it's Calibri Light. You see the fonts right here? I can actually, if I want it bigger, I can click on the A or the actually font and I make it, I like 20 instead of 18, I think it's, but I lose my selection. So I'm gonna select it again, all the way to F, and I'm gonna change it to 20. So it's still selected, and I'm gonna bold it too. I'm gonna bold it. Now, it's still not merged. For merging that, converting those columns into one, I have to go to Home tab, the group called Alignments, and over here we have Merge and Center. And just give that a click. I prefer right click. On the right click, you have what is called the mini toolbar, and notice that is right here too. But either one of them, this one or that one, is the same thing. So click merge and center, and now it gets merged. Now it's still selected. We're gonna add a background to that. So on the home tab, under the font group, notice that we have a bucket and we have a font. So if you click on the icon, notice that mine has a yellow. So if I click, I just applying that color or yellow. That's not my intention. I want to pick a color. So if you want to pick a color, you got to click on the drop down arrow. Think of a drop down arrow as options. So over here, we're going to click on drop down and then you can click different options. And mine, because I'm RDP, is not switching the color, but in yours, as you move over the colors, it switches to that color, correct? Okay, so I'm gonna choose light green. You're welcome to change the font color if you prefer, because this is for you to learn. Or you can make it red, you can make it whatever you like. You're not gonna leave mine black, but you're welcome to do that, okay? So we finish our title. Great. Now, how many steps do we take for that? We merge it. We increase the font. We selected a background. We bold it. So it was about 4 to 5 steps. And I want to apply the same steps to this subtitle. And the only thing that I want different is instead of 20, I'm gonna make that 16. But I want everything the rest. So if you want all the settings or the formatting the same, instead of doing it one by one, that you might miss a step, you can actually click on the one that already has the format or the settings. And then we're gonna click on the home tab on the clipboard. It's a brush. This one is called the format painter. The format painter, what it does is that it copies all the styles of the selected object or the selected cells. So we're gonna click on that paint brush. Notice that you get I call it the marching ants, and I have a little brush on my mouse, and then you just click, and look what happens. All of them gets the same identical settings. The only thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change the font because that's a subtitle, not a title, to 16. So I'm gonna change it to 16, a little smaller. And now looks good. So I have Kaylin Candles fourth quarter revenue analysis. We're gonna do similar formatting to these items and these regions and the numbers themselves. Okay, so we're gonna go slowly and start formatting all of them. Okay, let's start with the items here. So we're gonna select, when I say select, always selection is white cross. So select candle all the way to tapers. I didn't select total. I left total out because I'm gonna format total differently, okay? So select, this selection is A5 to A9, okay? A5 to 9. Then we're gonna go back to styles, and this time we're gonna select heading 4, heading 4. So give it a click. And notice that increase the border and increase it to 11. I'm gonna increase it one more to 12. You're welcome to assign a background color. I'm gonna leave mine just white background, but if you like, you can actually do that. Uh, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna uh, indent it one step in. So as it's selected like this on the home tab, I'm gonna go to the alignment group, this right here. And notice next to merge and center, we have these two. It's called decrease indent, increase indent. So I'm gonna increase indent one click, and look what happens when I do that. It just add a tab within the column. You see that? It add a little tab within the color. It doesn't jump from column A to column B. Now that I am here, I also gonna do the total line, but I'm gonna give you a little time to make sure that everybody's there. Don't worry about if a candle is crossing to the next column here or losing it. We're gonna fix that later. Okay, now we're gonna select total all the way to column F. So that's gonna be our total line. And this time we're gonna do a custom format. So I'm not gonna choose a style, we're gonna do it ourselves. So I'm gonna select a green background, just like the title. So I'm gonna click on the the same color. So, and that put the color behind it. I'm gonna increase the font to 14. I'm gonna click on the default bold. And I'm gonna add borders to that selection. What I mean by adding borders, on the same home tab we have on the front, we have a grid here. So you can actually click on the drop down arrow and notice that we have bottom border, top border, left, right, no borders, all borders, outside, thick, but we have bottom double border, you see that one? And we also have top and double border. So that's the one I'm gonna use for this calculation. So I'm gonna select top and double bottom border. So give it a click and notice that now when I click outside, it looks like that. Great. So looking good. Now we still need to format region 1 to total, and we also need to format these numbers. Okay. So we're gonna select first region 1 through total, because these are labels or fields, name of the columns. We're gonna format this with different style. This one was, I think it was 4, but this one is gonna be a different one. So select those. We're gonna go to cell style. You see, heading 4 was the one over here. We're gonna select now heading 3. That add a thick underline under. Okay, so we're gonna click on heading 3. Add that. We're gonna increase the font to 12. The only problem is because that's a preset and I'll be using green in my color. Notice that the preset uses blue. So I'm gonna select that. And I'm gonna click on, I'm gonna show you something important here. So this grid doesn't quite let me, there are also what is called presets. They don't let me change the line color. They let me change it here, or you can change it right here, but a more straightforward way to do that is by right clicking and select format cell. It's a shortcut for that. After you select it, you can click on Control 1 and it takes you to the same location. But right click, format cells. This appears. That's different tabs right here, but the one that we're looking at is borders. So we're gonna click on borders and notice that I have my blue underline on that style. You see, that's the underline applied to these fields or names or labels. So the way you change the color in this one, notice that the color is blue. I want to make it the same as my green. So I'm going to click on that color, click on my green. I'm going to select for this one a darker green. Oh, but teacher, it didn't change it yet. No, because I just changed the color and it was there before that. So what you do, you see this little button right here? This little button is what add the line. So I can click and it disappear. And then when I click again, notice that it put it on green. I can, if I want to add another border, so I can click on this one, you see, appears, I click again, disappear. I click again, disappear, I click it, appear. So this button is to add borders to my selection. So I'm just gonna add the bottom one. Make sure that you select the color first and then click on it so the colors then applies. If I want to also add a field or background color to that selection, I can actually go to field right here and I can pick a color for them as well. But I'm gonna leave mine with no color background. You're welcome to do that. yourself if you wanted to. Uh, Even though we could have done it from here, I want to show you this because this is a more powerful and you can control, and we're going to be using this instead of the presets. Presets are good when you want to straight to it, but the only problem is that it doesn't give you many options. I want you to give you complete control over the formatting. That's what I'm showing you this way. So give you okay. I notice that now it put it green. Again, I could have done that by going to the grid, line color, and switch the color right here. But I want you to give you control by going to more borders. Okay. Let me wait until you get there. Great. So we're looking good. Now, the last thing for us to do is to format the numbers. And then after we format the numbers, arrange all the columns with the auto fit column. So we're going to select B5. It's a range all the way to F10. B5 to F10. That's a range. That is stated like this. Watch. If I say equal B5 to F10, notice that they get selected. That's a range. So that's what I selected. I just letting you know that that is a range and not just one cell. Okay. So select the B5 to F10. And we're going to convert those numbers into currency. The best way to do that, we actually go to the Home tab, and on the number group, we click on the drop-down area and select currency. Now, many of you that are smart, you will be, but why not using that symbol right here? That's called accounting. And let me demonstrate that before. Let me first select currency, so we are in the same spot. You know, notice they add that dollar sign, and on the blank ones, even though you don't see anything, when we do the calculations, they will be formatted as currency as well. Now, but what is the difference between this currency and that symbol, which is accounting? Okay, so let me demonstrate that here. You don't have to do this. This is just for demonstration. Currency. Accounting. So, and I'm gonna type to that huge number. I don't know what that number is. And I'm gonna copy that number down below. And what I'm gonna do now is to format it as current. Oh, the first one's gonna be currency. Wow. And the second one is gonna be accounting. You see the difference there? The accounting places the symbol to the edge of the left side, where the currency places the symbol next to the number. So usually the banking individuals, they like to use accounting. That's not the only difference. And as I grow this, you see that the symbol gets stuck right there. Okay. Oh, the reason accounting is like that because accounting fill all of these spaces with zero, then you don't see. Or the currency doesn't fill that and put the symbol next to it. The accountant like to create that because they get lined up. So all the numbers get lined up. Let me show you what I mean by that. So for instance, this is going to be $100. This is going to be 23. This is going to be 89. This is going to be 200. This is going to be 400. I'm going to use the same numbers here. I'm gonna format this as currency. I'm gonna format this as accounting. And then notice the difference here. Look what happens. The that is all lined up and the dollar sign is all lined up. But look what happens when I move. Notice that it's a different. The dollar sign is a little different than the 2 digits. So the accountants like to do that because everything gets lined up on the reports. This one doesn't get lined up for reports, but nevertheless, that's what we're going to use here. Just letting you know that you had that option if you happen to be in an office working for the bank. They will let you know that they want to use accounting formats uh, ahead of time, so you don't have to worry about that.
But is that the only difference? So nothing would change. Nothing really affects that then.
No, the like I mentioned, they are more accurate for large number because bank goes to the so when we add more zeros to that, I don't know if you had taken a long, everybody had taken a long, and they have maybe 45 6, and what it happens here is more accurate. So for interest, the bank like to use the accounting because every cent gets multiplied in a complex formula, and they actually charging you for that. Or in a regular, most offices, they don't care about all of that calculation. They just want to see the whole numbers, and currency is sufficient for that. But banks institution, most likely they're gonna be accounting. Okay, but just letting you know the difference. So I'm gonna delete that. Okay. Now, so these are currency, and now we're gonna do one last format right here before colon out of it, and it's these totals. This totals is calculating from left to right, where this total is calculating from top to bottom. Okay, so that's why you have two total lines right here. But this number right here is the total for everything. Okay. Now I'm gonna format this a little bit different because this is left to right. So for this, I'm gonna go to cell styles and I'm gonna select the output format. Or you can actually say note or input, whatever you prefer. Okay, I'm gonna select output. And then it shows that, notice that it put the little line under. I don't like that line, I just want the gray. So I'm gonna go to the grid and I'm gonna select no borders, and it takes the lines away. And then I'm gonna click bold. I'm gonna change it to again 14. Now that it's selected, notice that it's still currency, and that's perfect. That's what I want. Okay. And then click outside, and then we are set. Something else happened. I don't know if you noticed that my total lost my line. That happens sometimes when you change the format. And I noticed that this line also is lost here. So I'm gonna fix that. So I'm gonna click on region 4, click on my format painter, and then I'm gonna click on total, and look, the line comes back. Same thing on the number before this one, which is this. I'm gonna select that number, click on the format painter, and then click over here and add the little line too. But notice that when it added the line, what happens? It lost the gray. So it's just tricky. So I'm gonna then click on the color and apply the gray to it. And I'm gonna leave like that. And I'm gonna keep on playing with this, but just letting you know in case you're looking for some or that you are a perfectionist and you want it to be just perfect. The best way to do it in this instance right here is to actually click on this cell and then add the top and bottom border. And now that is what you have. Okay. Any questions so far? Simple, simple, simple. Okay, now we're gonna adjust all the columns right here to start doing the calculation. So we're gonna click on this triangle, give it a click. That's called the select all. And then you can actually do column out of it and row out of it. So if you go to the row, find a divider, double click, boom. Go to the column, find a divider, double click. And that adjusts all of them. But notice that it's kind of squish it all of them together, right? So I'm gonna undo. I don't want it so squish. It adjusted all of them to the width. I want to add a little bit of room like it has, and I just gonna fix column A. So I'm gonna click on A, and then I'm gonna double click. So I'm showing you this because the only one that needed to be fixed was column A. But if you have multiple, then you click on select all, and all of them will be fixed. And we're gonna do that on chapter 2. You're gonna see how that works. Okay, so we are good to go. Now we're gonna add the sums, and then we're gonna add different type of charts this time. I'm gonna add a pie, and I'm gonna add a bars, depending on what we want to, show our supervisor. Okay, so we're gonna click on B10, B10, and we're gonna add all of these items above. So a manual way to do that is this way. So you click on the B10, you click on the plus equal sign, which is next to put the equal. And then with the mouse, this is called point and click selection. So I'm gonna click on the first one down to the last one. You see that? I selected them. But that's only selecting. Nothing's gonna happen because it's just a selection. So I had to do some type of calculation to it. So the way you do that is that you type S for U, M, and notice that sum appears. In order to go into the formula, because now if I click over here without going into the formula, notice that I lost. You see, I got a error message. So let's correct it. So I'm showing you this type of scenario so you don't get confused and understand what happened. So again, I'm going to say equal SUM. Sum is the one I want. This is all about sum if, sum products, and you're going to see that later. You have two options. The first one, double click on sum with the mouse. I don't like that. It's too much work. The easy one is tab. Click on tab, and notice that you go into the formula. So equal SUN tab, and that goes into the formula. Then you're gonna select point and click, and notice that now that selection is inside the formula. Then you close the parenthesis and you hit enter, and notice that gives you the sum. That was manually entering the formula. I would suggest to get used to that because you have control over what gets installed. You're gonna be doing it like this all the time, except the sum, because the sum is so straightforward that Microsoft have a icon. You see this Greek E right here is the auto sum. So for the next one, I'm gonna click on C10. I'm gonna click on the Greek E. And other than it did just what I did on the first column. Let me do it again in case I did it too fast. I click on C10, which is this cell. Then I put my mouse to the top right corner on the editing group. It's a E, a Greek E. And then you give it a click. I'm not clicking on the arrow, I'm clicking on the icon. Ooh, and it gets the numbers for me. Then hit enter. So that's my second version. So this one was manual. This one was using the Greek E. This one I'm gonna use a shortcut. The shortcut is the Alt key and the equal sign, Alt equal. And notice that Alt equal selects the numbers for me as well. Hit enter and it's there. Now, the last formula, I'm going to delete those formulas. You don't have to delete it. You can do it with me too. We're going to re-add them. Over here, regardless what you use, of the three that I show you, I'm going to use the Greek E for now. You're going to select the first option, and then we're going to fill the rest using the fill handle, which is bringing the mouse slowly to the bottom dot. It becomes a black solid cross. You're going to click and hold, and you're going to drag it to the end, and then release. Oh, we have an error message. Is this an error message? No, it's that it show more than it cannot display, so it show hashes. So to fix it, select the column E, go to the edges and double click to out of it, and that gets fixed. Now, we're gonna do the right, so we're working from left to right, and we use the fill handle for that, okay? And we enter it manually, then we enter by clicking on the Greek E, and then we did the shortcut. Regardless of that, the fill handle is used to copy the formulas down to the different columns. Now, let's click on F5. And I'm going to use the Greek E again. So notice that it selected my left. What is select my left and not my right or down? Because it looks all of the directions and see the numbers and grab the numbers as long as it's no break in between. Let me show you what I mean by that. So if I have 2, 3, 5, 6, and I do the Greek E right here, look what happens. It only grabbed the 6 because in the middle here is a space. It doesn't know that is a 0, it's nothing. So nothing is not 0, nothing is undefined in a cell. So the sum doesn't work, this E doesn't work here. You will have to manually do this, extend it to get the other ones. Okay, so now the reason this one works here is because it's no break in between and grab all of these items. Okay, so let's click on F5 and click on the Greek E. It grab them and hit enter. Now going downwards, we can use the fill handle again, but going downward is if you have 100 rows and you're drinking too much coffee, or you went party last night and you're a little bit dizzy or whatever, you might you might miss one. But going downward is easy because when it becomes the fill handle, if you double click, look what happens. It fills it in for you automatically. You don't have to drag it. Only going downwards. I will repeat that. You can go down like this by dragging it, which is, but downward is a trick. You can just double click and it goes for you. Fix column F. And we have now our final version. So now you should feel comfortable formatting and adding is the AutoSum formula to any exercise, because this is pretty much the same repetition. We're gonna add a couple charts, then we're gonna take a break for 10 minutes and then we come back, okay? Now, like I say, we're gonna add some charts. So the first charts that I'm gonna add is uh, regions and their totals. Okay, and then the second chart is gonna be items and their totals. Okay, so let's do the first one. The first one is gonna be a pie. The next one is gonna be a bar. So we're gonna select regions first. So remember, selection is always in the center. Don't do this because you're gonna ruin it. You see, you're gonna copy region one and make uh, damage that. So selection is the white cross and select. Because we're gonna select two different areas, we now have to make a selection here. But look what happens. I lose my first selection. So I'm gonna select my first selection first. Then I need to hold another additional key to pick these other ones. That key is the control key. Hold the control key and now select B10 to BE. So I had now two selections, two areas. We're gonna click on the Insert tab, select the pie or recommend the charts, or you can go straight to the pie, but let's recommend the charts. And they give me bars, they give me rows charts, and they give me the pie. You see that pie? So you can click on that. Let's select OK, and it's gonna insert a pie for us. I'm gonna make my screen a little smaller so you get to see. Okay, and now I'm gonna bring the mouse to the white area. You see charts area. Notice that when my mouse is a white cross, and when I move into the mouse into the chart area, it goes into 4 pointing arrows. That is the move command. So I'm gonna click and hold, and I'm gonna bring it down below. Okay, down below. We're gonna make these charts a little bit prettier this time. Claudia Fernández, no me dejó a mí, me sale que no puedo recomendar with separate roles selected. Okay. So seems like Claudia has some problems. Let me help her. So I'm gonna leave that there. Oh, actually, then I'm gonna do it again for Claudia. Claudia, ¿me escuchas? Oh, Claudia. Sorry. Claudia, do you hear me? Oh, okay. So for not just Claudia, but for everybody, if you have a problem creating these charts, look the type of problem that you're having. If you select regions 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe 5, the total, and then you do control and select the 1, 2, 3, 4. Note that we have selected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have selected 1, 2, 3, 4. When I now go to insert, and recommend the charts, look what happens. It gave me this issue because they're not even. You have to select even areas. You have to select even areas, okay? So again, you need to select region 1, 2, 3, stop, release the mouse, hold the control key, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Don't go 5 and don't go 5. So if you go 5 here, you gotta go 5 here. And when you go recommend the charts, then they will appear. So if they don't appear, even if you get it correct, click outside and do it again until you get it right. Okay? And that will then go and insert the chart. Now, we're gonna make this chart a little bit prettier. So I'm gonna click on the white area here. And now you're gonna notice that over here we have a new menu. This is called the context menu. If I click outside the charts, it disappears. When I click on the charts, notice that chart design and format appear. Click outside, disappear. Click on the charts, appear. I'm going to click on charts design. And over here, notice that I have a couple options. So I'm going to click on the more down arrow. And I'm going to click on the 3D version of this. So I'm going to click on that one. I notice that now has a little more 3D, and you can actually continue looking around to see which one you kind of prefer for you. So maybe that one. So you choose which one you like to explode it, you know. So the options are there for you. We're gonna select this one, the last one. You can continue adding more things to this based on the plus. So if you click on the plus, notice that we have charge title, and if I click on it, they disappear. If I click up here, labels, if I click disappear, if I click appears, and I have more option with the arrow. So if I want to center, inside in, outside, best fit, data call out, and you even have more options. I'm going to disappear, click again, appear, and I'm going to select outside in. Okay, actually inside in. The legend is the below here. You can make it appear or disappear, or make a legend be on the separate area, like the right, top, left, bottom, and you have also more options. Okay. The second option here, we can select the styles right here next to usually. You don't have to actually go, you see. And this last one, you can actually uncheck a region, for instance, and you can put it back. You also have the names. If you don't want none, you can say none. But I'm going to leave it as it was. Okay. So that's the chart. What about if I want to increase the font on the numbers? Okay, so the way you increase the font on the numbers is you click on one number. Notice that all the numbers get highlighted. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I just want to click on that one, I click it twice. Click again. You see, now I'm dealing with that number only. To discard that, I click outside. Again, I click on one number, select all the numbers. I can go now to font on the home tab and increase them to 10, 11, bold it. Okay. You can readjust them if you wanted to. Maybe a little bit bigger, 12, okay. Now, what about if you want to readjust them yourself? So again, you click twice. So one, twice. I can now move this 400 whatever I want to adjust it. Okay, same thing with this one, and then I can adjust it the way you want it to be adjusted. What about if I want to look at the colors of this chart? So you click on the circle twice, so one, that give me the whole circle. But what about if I want to go into the orange? Click on the, again, now it's only that. And if I want to change it to red, I click on red. Or if I want to change it to yellow, I click on yellow. If I want to change it to green, I click on green, and so on. Let me do that one more time because it's a little tricky. So click on the outside circle first. Then you're gonna click on the color that you want. But notice that over here, everything is selected still. So I'm gonna click again, and only that 3 points is selected. And now I can change the color for just that one. I'm gonna change it to black, gray, blue. You see that? So that's how you change the colors for the different pies. Okay, I want to add a border that is more solid to the whole area. So I'm going to click on the area, format, shape outline. I'm going to select weight. I'm going to select 1 point. And now is for printing. When I say Command P, oh, not that one. Control P, notice that it has a little more solid line. It's still not quite visible because on the color is gray. So I'm gonna select and now you see that it's more solid. You see that? I want Kaylin's candles to be the title of this chart. So pay attention because this is tricky. So I'm gonna click on the chart only one time. And I'm gonna click, notice that I'm not inside. The cursor is not inside, that's editing. I'm gonna step outside, click on the outside of the chart title, get selected, and I'm gonna say equal, and I'm gonna click on Kaylin's candles, and I hit enter. And notice that Kaylin candles went inside my box. I'm gonna do that one more time. Outside, click on chart title on the edges. Not double click, now don't do this because the cursor is gonna go inside. Just click one time, go to the functions box, equal, click on Kaylin's candles and hit enter. And that converts it into that. Okay, we're gonna add one more chart. Now we're gonna use the candles and the totals. So I'm gonna select candles jar all the way to papers. Release the mouse, hold the control key, and go from 301,000 to 275,000. Notice that I selected the same amount. So 245 and 245. If you get one additional one, then you're gonna get an error. Click on the insert tab, recommend the chart, and you can either pick this cluster. You can select cluster bar, you can select funnels, you can click on all charts, and you have colors for the columns. On lines, you have a bunch of things, map. So based on my selection, they're gonna give me some options. Oh, the sunburst, look at that. A nice sunburst selection right there. Histogram, box, waterfall. Look at that combo. So we have a combination of line and bars. Uh, I'm gonna select just the bars, and I'm gonna select the color bars. So I'm gonna give it a click, and then I'm gonna click OK. And I'm gonna move it down the first one. And over here, you can do the same thing. Notice that these numbers here are very hard to read, right? Do you agree? So I'm gonna click on that number, and I'm gonna click the delete key, and I'm gonna put the labels inside the colors. How do I do that? I'm gonna click on the plus data labels, but instead of clicking, you see, if I click it, it put it there. But I'm gonna actually go into inside in. Notice that you put it on the inside base, put it on the very beginning, outside in, outside the colors. I like the inside end. Great. On the charge title, again, I'm gonna select it. I'm gonna go to the function, equal, and select cadence. I'm gonna bold that selection. I'm gonna select my numbers. Notice that only one selected, so I'm gonna click outside. I want all of them selected, so I'm gonna click in numbers again. Okay, so what I can do with the rest of the numbers, I can hold the control key and click up. Let me see, how can we do that? Select all the numbers. Okay, seems like we had to do it manually, so it's okay. We're gonna click on the first one, we're gonna hold it, and we're gonna increase the size to 12. Then do the same thing with the other one, hold 12. And this one, hold 12. This one, hold 12. That one, hold and 12. The same style, as this, which is the around. So we're gonna click here, and we're gonna go to format, shape outline, black, again, shape outline, add a weight of maybe, I think, let's go. And now notice that they have the same thing. Yes. So that is chapter 1. Oh, by the way, I don't like these lines that is pointing here. So I'm gonna click on the lines, and I can delete the lines. Oh, there we go. Now delete the lines. There we go. And now it looks a little easier. So you can also, if you wanted to, you can explode, so you can actually move that line. Let's see if I can do this. No, okay. I think we're gonna leave it like that, but you can actually separate these from each other too by going into the format. But I'll let you play with that yourself. So this is nice. It's another line right here that you probably can delete. You see that little line there? And just show only what you need it from So notice that tapers right here is the blue, and you can increase the size of this a little bit so it's more noticeable. Like so taper is blue, then it has a 275. If the number is not quite visible, you can click on that number and change the color of the number. Probably a white would be better before you final print out. When you click on print, you go file, print, and notice that my other ones didn't show because you see this little line right here. This is the printing area. So in order to fix that, we can actually go to page layout on margins, and we can say narrow. I notice that now all my columns are in to F. You see the little dash line right here, but my killing this second is not. So you have a couple options. You can actually make this the charts a little smaller, or you can, what I'm gonna do instead is to bring the charts below one another like that. Let me scroll down. Notice that this green line right here is the actually break of the pages. So if I go now to file and print, notice that now is, oh, let me go back, didn't quite see it. I was highlighting. If I highlight that, I can just print that. So I'm going to click outside. I'm going to file, print. Notice that now everything is selected. Print. But again, if you want to just print a chart, you can just click on the chart, file, print, and only that chart prints. You're welcome to say this exercise. If not, we are gonna just take a break of 10 minutes. Right now is 10:49. We're gonna come back at 11 for chapter 2. How we doing? You guys are too quiet, don't make any noise. Sometimes I think that I'm talking about myself. But it's okay. If you want to save it, just say file save, and then we come back later with chapter 2. So take a break or drink some coffee, go use the restroom, or say hi to the family, and be back at 11. Okay, this is what we're gonna do for our today's lab. We're gonna create formatting based on a rule, and we're gonna do a salary report. Then based on the numbers of hours and your rate, you're gonna get you pay your federal taxes, state taxes, so you know how to read your voucher. When you get paid. Then we're gonna select the highest and the lowest functions and the auto sum. Then we're gonna create also a chart. Notice that we also gonna label the tabs. For instance, if I change this line, John Lane, notice that it says 65 hours work, and I made a mistake. He actually works 75. Look what happens when I hit enter. Automatically get highlighted, and that's called conditional formatting based on rules. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. Before doing this exercise, I'm going to go into some basics of how to do some math and stuff like that. Okay. So if you have a cell open, just close it and find Excel and open a brand new Excel. So I want you to just be in a brand new Excel just like this. Go ahead and do that now, please. Okay, so we're gonna do some math and some text, basic text functions that you should know. We're gonna talk about formulas. So we're gonna do some math, and we're also gonna do some basic text. Okay. So if your math is not your forte, it's your strong subject, when you're helping your kids, and they say how you do this, how you do that, it's gonna be stuff. Uh, to can you check that this is correct or something like that? So it's gonna be hard. So we're gonna create a mini calculator here that after you enter two numbers, it's gonna give me the sum, the division, the multiplication, and so on. And it's gonna be simple, uh, but it's gonna show you how Excel works. Okay, so I'm gonna select here, column F. I'm gonna select input 1 and then input 2. What this means is that the two numbers gonna go here. Okay, and if you want to add more, you can continue adding more. So it's up to you. I'm just gonna do it with just 2 for now, uh, and I'm gonna now make those bold, and over here on the two inputs, I'm gonna select a background of like green. Oh, I'm gonna select. Oh, okay. So that's where the input is gonna go. Uh, I'm gonna click inside those two, and instead of general, I'm gonna select number. I'm gonna put a number there, maybe 4 and a 5. Notice that you add those two zeros. So I'm gonna select those. And I leave it like that. But if you want to remove the zeros, you can click over here, increase. The other one is decrease, so you can take them like that. So it's always gonna be integers. But in case your case has something with decimals, you can also add it like that. Okay. Now over here, I'm gonna then call this one math result. This is gonna be sum result. This is gonna be division. And subtraction. And the answer is gonna be right here. You already know how to merge two columns. So I'm gonna select these two right here. I'm gonna merge it, and I'm gonna do a right align. Okay, and I'm gonna indent it a little bit. Then looks like that was a little too much. So just like that. And then I'm gonna do the format painter, and I'm gonna select that, and automatically it's gonna copy that to the next ones. Okay. I'm gonna now select this color format painter, and I'm gonna do it here. I'm gonna make this a little larger. Okay, so now that's the formatting. I guess I need a little, and we covered a class and a half in formatting, so you should be okay with that. But now we're gonna start talking about formulas, and that is when things are gonna be changing a little bit. So I'm gonna give you this scenario, and then I'm gonna break down how Excel works with relative formula. Okay, so math. Let me also select row 6 to 9. You see that? And after I select it, I go into the division, and I increase the height a little bit, and it's going to increase the height to all of my selections simultaneously. You see that make it a little bit taller. Okay. I could have done that individually by going like this, right click, and select row height, and type the height right there. But I just did the selections like this, and then move this up and down as far as the height that you want. Okay. Okay, so this sample is gonna say that whenever I enter two numbers here, I'm gonna get these results right here. The first one gonna be multiplication. Oh, sorry, that's not math, it's multiplication. So multi, sum, division, and sum. Okay. So we're gonna say equal. So that's how we start a formula. And notice that over here, I have fx to insert the formula. So I can actually click on that and it give me options. What you want to do a sum, you want to be an average, we're going to do a product. So we can actually go into math and trigonometry. And notice that if I actually click over here and I type product, which is multiplication, and click go, it finds products. And it says, oh, product is multiplies all the numbers given as argument. I say, oh, okay. So that's a formula and it was really good. But we're gonna do the basic formula for now. So we're gonna say equals, and we're gonna select F3, and it puts it there, times is an asterisk G3, and you hit enter. And notice that it gave me 4 times 5 is 20. And if I change 4 to 6 and I hit enter, it changes. So you can, based on these two numbers, it's gonna give me the result. I can double click to see the formula, and notice that is F3 asterisk G3. So whatever it is, it's not saying 6 asterisk 5, it just say the location of those, and then based on the location it put the value and multiplies. Okay, escape to get exit that. Let's do the same thing with sum. So we're gonna say equal, click on F3, plus is the sum, G3, enter. Division, equal, F3 forward slash, not this one, not backslash, forward slash, G3, enter. And then subtraction, equal, this one, dash, this one, enter. So far, this number right here is larger than this number. So if this happens to be a 3 and I hit enter, notice that I get negative and I get 0, because you cannot divide 3 to 5. This is smaller, that's what it give you, but it still give you some answer. So what about if your kids has a bunch of numbers, or he's in elementary, and say, oh, what about is 45 times 5? That's a big number to do it off the mind, but itself, it does it for you in a fly. So he can test. You can actually create something like this, and they can actually check their numbers by using your skills in Excel. So that's math in Excel, and you can create a little bit more advanced math, like something like square. So root square. How would you do root square? So root square, and how would you do average? what else? Okay, root square. Okay, so what is the root square of input one? So I gotta put a note here. This is gonna say input one, input two. So this one is gonna be the sum. Let me make this large, and I'm gonna say sum. Okay, and this is gonna be single root square for inputs. Okay, now the way you do that, you click equal. So what is the root square? So the root square is the number times the number. Remember, let me, I'll show you in a second. I cannot do it right here because oh yeah, I can annotate. Let me see. Draw. So remember this? Now it was like that, and then this was two, or it was a three, or it was a four, or whatever. So this is a square, this is a cube, and so on. Uh, so we're gonna tell Excel that. So the root square, of input one is gonna be that number times the same number. And then because this is going to be a sum, we're going to say plus, and then we're going to say this number times this number. I don't have to actually, I could have done it. uh I want to kind of so you understand it, but I could actually say like this. And I think that might be a little simpler. So based on that, the root square, you hit enter, it give you 2050. If you just want to know the root square of each input separately, you just say equals this times this. Enter. And the root square of this equals this times this. So you see 2025, and this is just 25. For the sum is 2050. But the first one is a larger number. But if you put a 3 and hit enter, you see now it's 9 and the other one is 25. So this is something that you can use Excel really fast for probably your kids when talking basic math or a little bit algebra. They have templates for that too, but it's to extend your knowledge of Excel mathematical. Uh, so that's that. Now let's now do something with text before explain relative formula. So let me see. One Smith. Rick Hernandez. This is a line. Another text line again. Let's say. Okay, so How we doing? Okay. You guys are so quiet. Okay. So for formula, we're gonna use a few one which is concat. This the same thing as join. Okay. And then we have left, right, mid, len. What are some simple ones? Okay, so when you want to add to when you want to join concat join or the plus or two string together, let's say I want to join these two string or with the formula, I just say equals, select that plus that. And Excel is strong enough, smart enough to understand that you want to join this formula. And it does what you ask her, even though the output is might not be what you expect. Okay, let me show you. You see? Say, oh, what's going on here? You cannot add that because they are strings and you try to add. Okay, so how do we actually do this so Excel understands? So we can do it this way. Instead of the plus, we use the symbol called and that is shift 7. Shift 7. Hit enter. And notice that now it addable. Wait a second. They joined Juan Smith Rick Melende. Why? Why they join it? Because that's why you told Excel. It says grab this content, join it. This is the join command or the concat to this content. If you want a space between this and this, you have to tell it. So you can say and quotes, space, quotes, and. What that means is that it's going to grab the content of AC, append a space, and append the content of A7. When you hit enter, now is what you expect. Or you could put a dash in between. So you want to put a dash there. Or maybe a space dash a space. Hit enter. You see that? So this is a very simple way to join two or more strings together. It's a formula for that called concat. Then, but this one is straightforward. You can do it that way. The other way that you can do it is by using concat. Let me show you how that looks like. So we're gonna say equal concat, and there you have it. How do we go into the formula? We tab, and now it's asking for text one. So we click on maybe this line, comma, and then text two, another line. And then you can continue, but you then click close, enter. Oh, same problem. Notice that it joining together. How do we fix it? So we say after the comma, you just type space, space, quote, comma. What that means is that Concat is going to add the content of this cell, a space in between, and the next cell. When you hit enter, notice that it add the space in between. So this is the first version, so you can see it. Let me zoom in. You see, as the A6 and the A7, assuming you put the text on the same location as me. If not, you have to tell it where is the text. And now using the concat, similar scenario. Okay. So that's this one, concat formula. Now, what is left and right? So, for instance, if you are tasked to get a certain number of characters starting from the left side, we can say equals left, tab, remember to go into the formula, and it's asking, okay, you want me to get something from where? From here, comma, and it's asking you how many characters you want me to get. I want you to get 4 characters. Close the parenthesis. So based on that, it's gonna get the T, the H, the I, and the S. You hit enter, and that's what it gets. You see that? Left, right. So let's do that for, and if I scroll down here, because those are string, notice that it gets Anat and Jose, only the first 4 character. Okay. So that's left, very simple. Now, what about right? How right will behave if I just change left to right? So instead of starting on the left, it's gonna now start on the right side. So it's gonna get ENIL when you hit enter. Enter. You see that? Because instead of starting from the left, it's going from the right. And if I scroll this down, it will do the same thing, line and opus. So right, just the where you want to get the information and how many characters you want. Interesting. So left, right. What about mid? Oh, mid is a little bit tricky. So you're gonna say equal mid tab into. And notice that you say from where? From here. Comma. Now it says where, what characters you want me to start, because it can get it from, it doesn't start left or right. You, let's say that I just want to get is blank space. So I got to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to start on 6. I want the function to start on 6 because I want the is. So the T is 1, H is 2, I is 3, S is 4, blank is 6, I is 6. When I start is, and then you say, okay, it starts in number 6. And now how many characters you want back? So I want 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want 4 characters back. Again, you tell it where to get the information, where to start, and how many characters you want back. That should give me is space A. And it did. And if I scroll down, it gives me the information based on the string. So again, that's mid. Some formulas here that you might use in your string, or mostly essential, left, right, mid. And now the next one is length. Length is how many characters are on here. So you might be tasked to say this column only takes 20 characters. Try to make it, make it essential. When you receive text that are longer, you at least want to know how many characters they are to see if they're going to fit on that column. So length works like this: equal len, length, return the numbers of characters. You just tell it where is the location of the string. That's all it needs to know, and then it's going to count it for you. So this one has 14 characters, and if I scroll down, notice that this one has 17 and this one has 14. So we can use this formula together to create something more elegant. For instance, if I have This is a common problem that you might have in your day to day, which is then they give you that they put the whole thing in a cell when it should be separate, first name, last name, and so on, and you have to create a formula to extract this. I show you that you can easily do this with flash fill, but this time we're gonna do it with formula. Uh, so how to extract the first name. So this one we're also gonna use another formula called find. So I forgot about that. So let me show you find first before doing this. So I'm gonna remove that. Now notice that this is a line, another text line, and Josefina Lopez. I want to find the first space, the blank space. So I'm gonna say equal find, tab into, find where. I wanna select that, and then comma, it says within text, what do you want me to find? So I wanna say space, quote space. And the one with the quote or the brackets is optional, so I don't need it, so I can actually close it. So this should give me a number back, the location where that space, the first space is. So when I hit enter, oops, what did I do wrong here? Let me see. Let's check what it gave me an error message. Oh, find test within, sorry, uh find the, I did it in the opposite, I didn't read it correctly. So find that in here. So you got to read the parameters and then hit enter and it give me a number. So it finds a blank, the first blank in 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the blank is 5. But over here, the blank is way out there and way out there. So if I scroll down, no other than 5, 8, and 9 is the first blank. Now, using this text formula, you can then do some fancy stuff. And let me show you, and then we move on. Any questions so far? Come on, any questions? You guys are too quiet. Okay, now we've been tasked to get the first name extracted to a different column. So now let's look at the data right here and notice that we need to, the first name is the last name starts after the space. Everybody agrees, right? So if we find the space, then whatever is before the space is actually the first name. Okay, so we can do it this way. So we're gonna say, we're gonna use the left that we learned. The left, we're gonna click on here. This is, it's gonna look at that text, right? But we have to tell it what number of characters, but each of these has different number. This might be 4, this might be 6, this might be 9, this might be 10. So it needs to work with all of them. So far, 4 works with Jose and Rick, but Anna is 3, and Luis also, but Anna is 3. So I can actually do this like, oh, 4 will work, right? For all of them, but it doesn't. Look, it got Jose, but it didn't. Anna, believe it or not, has an additional space there. Let me show you what I mean. If I change Ricardo, notice that only got Rica instead of Ricardo. So the formula doesn't quite work the way we expected. So to fix this formula, we have to use the find command to return this number dynamically. So instead of entering this like that, we're gonna use the find tab, find what? The space, comma. Where are we gonna find it? Here. And we gotta close the parenthesis. Pay attention here. Notice that we had two parentheses, one with red and the other one is black. It means that all the parentheses are that are needed is there. If you miss one, it give you an error message. But let me first show you that this work, and then give an example if you miss one of the parentheses. So Jose works. Now if I scroll down, notice that now returns all the first name, even though then you might have only like, let's say that is L. So it's only two. Notice that the L automatically appears. Now, what I was saying about that last parenthesis, if you made a mistake and you just leave it like that and hit enter, look what happens. It give you an error message. It will try to fix it for you, but sometimes it might help you, but sometimes it doesn't. So get used to close your parentheses. And they are color coded, so you know that they matching. So notice that this is little pink or red, they match, and this black and needs another black to match. Okay, so that's a little scenario of formulas. Now I'm gonna click on the plus to create a new sheet. Go ahead and do that too, please. I'm gonna talk about now relative serve reference. I'm going to remove the grid line here just to, so it looks like a and I'm gonna put numbers here. So I'm gonna say 34, and over here 52, 23, 67, 45, 90, and I'm gonna put this a little bit of color. And I'm gonna center this. Okay. Now I'm gonna add a simple formula that says equal this number plus this number, and hit enter. Okay. Now what happens here is that Excel knows location. So the first thing that Excel knows is that over here, it knows where it's at. That is in D1, right? This location is D1, D3, sorry. Then clicks on B3. Then add the plus signs. Then clicks on C3. Add the result. So this is what Excel is doing on the background for a relative. So Excel knows its location. Then follow or record what you do. In this case, it's recording. Then I click here, put the equal sign. Let me do it again. So you see, Excel knows that it's currently on D3 right here. Then I click on B3. Then I add the plus sign. Then I click on C3. When I hit enter, it add the result. Now, when I use relative formula, copy relative formula, right now I am on row 3, D3. What happened when I click on the field handle and I move down? What happened here? So right now I am in D4. Everybody see that? So it knows how to do that. It knows how to do that because you see now it at B4 and C4. So this description here was incorrect. I just gotta say knows its location. Then click on column B. Then add the plus, then click on column C. And then add the result. So that's what happens. If you click over here on D3, notice that B3 and C3. If you do the down arrow, notice that increases to B4 and C4. So relative, what actually means is the change of row or columns by increasing one to it. So if I continue, I'm going to add more numbers right here. I just select it and drag it down, and Excel will calculate numbers for me. And then I'm going to select this formula, use the field command, and then drag it down. How Excel knows that is because if you look at the formula, the only thing it's doing is adding a number to columns and rows, and then adding the values of those locations. So that's how Excel behaves by default. This is called relative. Now, we're going to talk more about this tomorrow. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a quick change to the formula. Notice that the formula is B3 plus C3 and then goes B4. Okay, so over here, I'm going to say B3 and I'm going to put some dollar signs there plus this one. And I'm going to hit enter. It's the same result for the this, and this is the for the first part, but look what happens when I scroll down. Completely different results. And the reason for that is that these numbers now gets added to only 34. So 34 plus 67, 101. 90 plus 34, 124. 113 plus 34, 170. How I know that? Because if you look, the C3 changes, but the other ones doesn't change. Only the second number change. We're going to talk about more about this. This is called absolute location. So that never changes because of the dollar signs. But we're going to talk about that tomorrow. But right now, the default version is that when you move down, Excel automatically adds one number, which is the raw number. You see, 6, and look at 6. 7, we enroll 7, look at 7. Any questions? That's relative. That's the default. You don't have to remember that. But in the next class, we're going to talk about this scenario when you want to use an absolute location to tell a cell not to move it down, but to, in reality, leave that there because that number is important. So you want to lock it in place. Okay. So with this, we're gonna now go to our first, or to our uh, demo for today. And the demo for today, I'm not gonna say this. You're welcome to save it. Is this one, which we're gonna create a salary report. We're gonna format just like we format the previous versions of our demos. We're gonna also create some. Let me show you the formulas here. So this is called the formula view. Uh, so you see the equal signs are formulas. So we started going into more details in regards to Excel. I'm gonna now get out of formula view. Don't ask me how to get there yet. Uh, I will let you know when the time is right. So you don't get into trouble. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and so go ahead and save what you have, close it, and we're gonna now go to File Manager, go to Chapter 2 that you downloaded. Cynthia, I think she got here late. I think she just listening. Uh, and we're gonna open Hypermask Online Storage. So find that one and open it for me, please. After you save your previous Excel. Gonna give you a minute or two to find it and then open it. And wait for me right there. Okay, so I think we have enough time to open that one. So this double click. And that's what we have. I also gonna show you some page layout to get the same colors or different colors if you prefer. So we have a title that is unformatted, a subtitle, some headings, some items. Over here we have some values. Here we have some blank where we're going to put our formulas. The higher day, which is doesn't look like a higher day to me, so we had to fix that. And then over here we also have areas to put some formulas. And then we have we would like to highlight if our employees work 70 hours or greater, so we know where our money is going. So where the big chunks of money, or who are the top performers per se. Okay. The first thing that we're gonna do, if you guys are ready, can you guys say I'm ready, or pull my thumbs up? Yes, are you guys ready? Okay. Yes, yes. Okay, nice. Nice. Okay. So the first thing that we're gonna do is Then we're going to click on page layout. On page layout, we have a couple things. We have margins. Now we can actually play with the margins and we can customize the margin if you wanted to make it fit in one page. We have orientation. Then we have portrait or landscape, size, letter, legal, or what have you. We also have print areas that we're not going to cover yet, but I'm going to show you that in a second. We also have breaks area, background, and all of that stuff. Now, but to the left of that, in themes, we can actually select colors, fonts, effects. And these are individual changes, but over here on the theme is the whole package, all of these areas into one choice. So let's select retrospect. Another, when I click on retrospect, automatically the font and everything changes. And if I go to colors, the color selection that I have here on search styles are different. So you see it's like a brown, red. Then if I go and change the retrospect to maybe something greenish, or like saffron. If I go here and saffron, everything changes again. And now if I go to home and look at the sales style, notice that they are bluish now. You see that? So based on the thing, you get different colors and different fonts and so on. For all of us to be the same, we're gonna go page layout, themes, and we're gonna select retrospect. Okay, make sure that you do that. Okay, now let's kind of fix all of this. Then it looks squishy to me. So we're gonna click on the triangle and go in the divider, so A and B, and double click. And now everything gets expanded. Okay, nice. Click outside. We're gonna work with the formatting first, and we're gonna then, just like we did for chapter 1, do all the formatting first, then do this number formatting second, and then do the calculations last. Okay. So selecting again on the white cross, click and drag it to our last column, which in this case is column J. Select that. Oh, what happened to the merchant center? Oh, because I'm on page layout tab. I need to go back to the home tab. Remember that when you go to any of these pages, these tabs, to always go back to home, because over here is the 95% of the thing that we use. Make the selection, click on sales style and select title. Then click on merge and center. I'm going to add a background of brown. Oh, not actually in the font on the background, brown. Oh, my text doesn't show, so it's going to show now to white, and I'm going to bold it. Okay, I'm going to copy that formatting by clicking on the paintbrush, give it a click. Notice that I have my marching ants around, getting all the information that I need. And then I just click on salary, one click, and voila, gets placed there. So hypermask online storage salary report. Let me give you a minute or two for you to do those two sets. We learned that on chapter 1, so you should be more than capable. Okay, so you should be good. Now we're gonna now take care of the labels and the items. Notice that the items employee, uh, car, green, these are employees, but because they are all in one left align, they don't appears to be under employees. So we're gonna increase the indent. So we're gonna increase it one, twice. So now they look better. Okay, now we're gonna take care of our labels. So we're gonna select employee selection, white screen. Scroll down, go to sales style and select, let's select heading 2 for this. Click on heading 2 and notice that they kind of squishing one another. And if I go to auto column, they fix that problem immediately. You see that? So learn to use the select all and column auto fit. Okay. Okay. So again, I selected my title, subtitle. On these labels right here, I choose heading 2. Then I selected all and the and column out of it for them to end up like that. I'm gonna select my names here. I'm just gonna bold them just so they look stand up a little bit. Okay. Now I'm gonna work with the total with these lines right here and provide a different format. Okay. So I'm gonna select total all the way to column J. I'm gonna bold it and I'm gonna go to 14, a little bigger for the numbers, the final numbers. I'm gonna select the same color as my heading. I'm gonna select that dark brown. And for the font, I'm gonna select white. So all of these that I selected will be that. Okay. The highest, lowest, and average, you can do similar color, but to make it interesting, I'm just gonna use different color for each. So highest, instead of brown, I'm gonna choose a little lighter brown. Hold it. I think white also works here. I'm gonna increase the font to 14 as well. Now lowest, a different color, just to, but you could have all of them the same color. I'm just choosing difference, give you a couple options. 14, black. I think dark on green is good. I don't have to change it to white. Okay. And average. Oh, did I increase the font? Yeah. Okay. Average. Same thing. You pick a different color if you wish, or the same. White. Bold. So those are my settings. Now I'm going to show you a trick of formatting borders here. What I want for my whole thing, the whole thing here, to have a outside borders. So in other words, the outside only. So I'm going to select from A1 down to everything. You see, select everything. And then on the font, I'm showing you in the home tab, font on the grid over here, notice that one is outside borders. You see that one? So I'm going to select that one, outside borders. And what that did, it put an outside border to my whole thing. How do I know? If you click on File, Print, notice that it has that there. You see that the border, the line, and all that stuff. Okay, but escape or back. Now, over here, many people like to select this and put all select this and select the all borders. It doesn't look good. I think it's better to just have the lines dividing each column. So that's a little tricky. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna select this all the way down. Notice that I did not select this. I don't want the dividers to be there. I just want employees to hire date and down to average. I did not select the title or the subtitle. After you do that, you can click the shortcut Control 1, take you there, or you can click on the grid here and select more borders, and it take you there. So the only thing that we have to do here is to click on this little button right here that is going to add lines in the middle. So click on that button. Notice that I did not click over here. Click on that button and then click OK. And notice that it add the lines in between each column. Great. Let's now do each of these is a different format because they are different type of format for the numbers. So we had to do them individually. So depending is a number. So we're gonna select this all the way down. Now on the home tab, under the number group, we're gonna click, notice that it says general. General is text. So we're gonna click on the drop-down menu and we're gonna select number. Notice that when I click on number, automatically add zeros to it. I do not want zeros. So I'm gonna click on decrease. This one increase, this one decrease, which is the little two little arrows underneath of the group. So I'm going to decrease it by 2 because we don't need uh, decimal. Those are whole numbers, but they are now numbers. Okay. Now we're gonna select work hours. Work hours are also numbers, but in work hours we do need the 2 digits because you might work 60.5, 16.6 hours, and you need that 60 of an hour so you get paid. So we're gonna click on the general and select numbers, and we don't have to do anything else here because automatically add the 2 additional digits. Okay. So, but in that case, we do need to see those digits. Now, hourly pay is also numbers. So we're gonna select that. And notice that it's only showing, some of them are showing 1, some of them are showing 2. We're just gonna make them all 2, so numbers. And now all of them are showing the right thing. So this, oh, actually, sorry. This hourly pay rate is not numbers, is actually currency. My bad. Okay. Okay. Now, gross pay is also currency. Federal tax, sales tax. These are decimals, right? Oh, so we're gonna now, actually, all of this is gonna be currency. So we're gonna select is how much we pay for those. Auto you check. The next one is a percent. But gross pay, federal tax, state tax are currency. So we're gonna change that to currency. I'm gonna put here a 6.75 just so I can format it correctly. Because if you don't see it, you're not gonna be able to format the percent correctly. So you're gonna select this all the way down. Oh, this all the way down. Okay. Now we're gonna click on percent. And notice that it has 2, so we're gonna click. You can add 3, you can add only 1, or you can do not add. We want at least 2 spaces. Okay, and then delete that number. Net pay is also currency, so we're gonna select down and we're gonna select currency. That automatically add the correct numbers or digits, so we don't have to do anything. And the last one, hire day. This is an internal day that Excel recognize, but that's a little cryptic, and we don't recognize it. So you don't have to go all the way down here, just up to that. This formula doesn't apply for a higher day. So we're gonna now change that to, notice that we have short dates, long dates. We're gonna use a short date. And notice that now it changes to the correct higher day, month, date, and year. If you ever have problem with this formula, sometimes it's formatting issues. Excel doesn't understand what it is, so you have to change it. Or you have to use a formula called evaluate. Okay, now that we have that, make sure that you save as. We're gonna say save as, not save as. And over here, we're gonna, at the end, we're gonna say in progress. It means that then this is yours and it's not going to overwrite the original file, so you can go back later and play with it again with it from the beginning. Okay, and then click save. So now it's in progress. Okay.
Teacher,
Yes.
can you repeat the, how can I put the text format in that column? I did everything else, but the text format, I cannot do it.
Okay, no problem. So you select this right here, and then on the home
No,
tab,
no, the text percent.
oh, the task person here. Okay, so we selected, we put a 6.75 like that, and then we hit enter, and then we actually drag it down to this and select percentage. and
Cause I
and
do that and then I hit enter and then they give me 7%.
yeah, and then you're gonna add these two little arrows right here. You can add zeros,
Let's
so
see.
you gotta add two zeros.
0. Oh, okay.
Okay,
Mhm.
and then you can delete the number because that's not, just check the format is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we are set. Remember to save it as in progress, so you don't overwrite the original file. We almost getting there. Now we're gonna add the formulas. So what is gross pay? Gross pay is the amount of hours that you work time you rate. So we're gonna do point and click formula here. So we're gonna say equal, and we're gonna click on work hours, asterisk, which is multiplication time the you rate. So you work 60 hours and you get $20 an hour, so you're gonna get 120, and so on. So you hit enter, and notice that give you 1,000 because it's 60 hours at almost $20. And then you just drag it down to row 12, and that do the all of the others because it's relative format. Federal tax is a little tricky, and over here I included a tax rate and exception that you can actually learn more, but the accountants have a table based on the state and the federal tax that year because that changes. Some years don't change, some years change multiple times. So the formula for this is a little different. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at it here and type it in with you. So for the federal tax, it's going to be equal 0.24 times because we want this to calculate internally E4 minus B4, which is your dependence. And this number, the last number, 2432, which is coming from that table. So let me make sure that I had correctly. 24, oh, 2432, and this actually was 22, my bad. Okay, so 24, this is actually 2, and this is 2432. And I'm gonna zoom in So you get to do that correctly before hitting enter. When you get it like that, you hit enter, and that gives you your federal tax based on the number of dependent. Hit enter. So that person pays 243 because he has 3 dependents. The other person pays more or less. Notice that the more dependent you have, the less you pay for federal tax. If you have 0 dependent, this guy that was almost the same, he pays a lot more. So dependents are good for you. Okay. Now state tax is let me see my cheat sheet right here. Okay, state tax, we are in the state of California, right? So in the state tax in California is 7.5%, roughly. So you click on gross pay and you multiply that by 77.5%. And you hit enter, and that gives you the state tax for that person. So notice that it's almost $300.20 already out of the check and just in taxes. Scroll down. Based on their gross pay, they pay those much for taxes. They don't even care about you dependent. They just care about how much you pay. The tax ratio, which is your percent, is this one. Let me zoom in so you get to see it. So is your federal tax plus your state tax divided by your gross income. Your federal tax plus your state tax divided by your gross pay. When you hit enter, that give you your tax bracket. When you go over 35, you expected to pay more taxes. So when you are approached at work to get a raise or a position, you gotta understand that then first, does it take you to the next bracket that you're gonna pay more taxes? Does it add more responsibility to you? Does it mean working on weekends and stuff like that? Sometimes we only look at the tag, how much I make. I used to make 40,000, now I make 60. But those additional 20,000, how much of them goes to taxes to Uncle Sam? Maybe out of the 20,000 that you making extra additional, at the end of the year you have to pay maybe 12 of those to taxes. So the only increase that you're getting is actually 8,000. And for those 8,000, now you have to work Saturdays. Now you have to stay late. And so value your time, especially with your family and stuff like that, for just what you make. What you make is just a tag. Remember that then investigate the tax brackets. If they increase, still take you or leave you in the same bracket, great. But if it take you to another bracket where you have to pay more taxes, then consider the plus or minus the the disadvantages. So okay, so net pay is pretty simple. Is how much you make minus these two sections right here. So you're gonna bring to your house. So you say equal your gross pay minus what they take federal minus what they take tax. And over here we didn't even consider health and dental. So that's also come, on your pay, but we didn't add it here. And hit enter. So this person makes gross 1,178, but only brings net pay to the house 847. So you almost an accountant now. So right now you can apply tomorrow. You say I'm almost a CPA and get that raise. Okay, so that's how that works. We are now gonna do the formulas below here. So it's very easy. I'm gonna help you with the first two columns and then you can finish the rest. Okay, so for totals, so we're gonna say equal SUM. To go into the formula, we tab and then we select. So we select B4 to B12. Close the parenthesis, hit enter, and we have 18. So because these are numbers and this is numbers, we can easily extend to the right and it's going to be valid. But look what happened because this is number and this is currency. If I do that, look what happened here. It doesn't recognize that. Even though it's correct, you just got to change it from number to currency. Okay, everybody saw that. So if that happens to you, then you drag this. Remember that the format is maybe incorrect. You just got to fix the format to currency. Okay, so let's do now the highest and the rest of this all the way to here. The last column you don't have to do. You just got to do from here to here. So I'll leave that for you to complete. I'll give you a couple of minutes in a second. Now highest is max. So we're gonna say equal MAX. Tab into the formula, select the range, close the parentheses, and hit enter. Once again, because these two columns are numbers, it's no problem there. But when you go to currency, it doesn't know. So I selected, change the number to currency, and now it says then the max in this column right here is 2085, which is this guy, Sue Green. Okay, that lady. Okay, now lowest, I'm gonna say equal min, MIN for minimum. Tab to go into the formula, select the range, close the parenthesis, and hit enter. The minimum in this column is 0. Obviously, you could tell that. Now move on to the next one because both of them are numbers, is 45. And then on the next one is a currency, so I have to change the format to currency, which was thus 1260. Last one, average, just like I say, you say equal ABE, and notice then average is right here, so I double click, select the range, close the parenthesis. Average is the sum of all of these items divided by the number of, so divided by, how many they are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the sum divided by 9, and that gives you the average. So the average is 2. Then you scroll to the right one more time. Remember, over here I got to change it to currency. So it's 1933. Now, based on these numbers, what she wants you to do is to fill the rest of this, except the last column is not. So let me give you a few minutes. Remember that when you drag it, you might have to change some formatting to look correct. So go ahead and finish it.
Professor,
Yes.
um, could you tell me the formula once more for net pay?
For which one?
Net pay.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Neck pay. Let me zoom in. Is that one? E4 minus F4 minus G4.
Okay, I got it. Thank you. And one more question. I got the lowest and the average. How do you punch in the formula for highest?
Okay, so highest is max and the range. So max B4 to B12. So lowest is min, MIN, and then the last one is average with the same range.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
No problem. And then remember that you have to complete this right here.
Okay.
Let me complete mine. So the way I complete this one is just select all of this like that. And I use the fill command and I drag it to the right. I know that some of them not gonna calculate correctly. Like this is just, but notice that is currency, which is good. I just gonna fix those hashes in a second. This is also currency, which is good. This is percentage, but they calculating as currency. So I'm gonna select those like this, and I'm gonna change into percent. Now to fix the hashes, I just go to the select all button, go into the divider, and then double click, and now they are all fixed. Notice that when I did that, it pushes this column J, outside the page break. You see that little dotted line is a page break. So I had to work with my page layout to bring that in into the report. So I'm gonna now click on page layout, and over here on margins, I'm gonna select custom margin. And notice that on the top 75, bottom 75, that looks good. But on the left, I have 25. On the right, I have 25. I could make this a little smaller to see. For instance, instead of 25, I can select 20. 20. As long as you can still print it. So we're going to click OK. And that didn't do anything, you see. So that means that I had to now make if I want to print in one page, I have to make this a little smaller. So I noticed that the labels here are 14, 13. So I'm gonna make the label 12 instead of 13 to see if that hurts me. So I'm gonna go 12. And then I'm gonna select all, and I'm gonna again out of it. I still have a little bit of problem there. Okay, so notice that here I added the these items with two increased indents. I'm gonna take one of those two to just one. It still look good, but not at the space that I have now. So I can use that space by selecting this column and now double click to adjust it. And now notice that I am within my page break. So these are things that you have to work through to get the best out of your report. If that wouldn't have worked, I would select the whole thing like this, and I will go one step down. It automatically adjusts the font one smaller font at a time. So now if I actually go to print, I have my print in one page versus the other one having 2 or 3 pages. So that's when you're going to print reports, when you start working yourself at the office or for somebody or even at home. Remember that most of the time you have to fit it within one page. Now, another technique I'm going to undo so you are aware. So like this one, you see this column is out, but I don't want to increase any further. I don't want to decrease the font any further. Excel give you an additional option. You're going to click on File, Print, and we have something called scaling. And scaling, notice that now, right now, if you notice, I have one or two. So the second page is that little piece that it didn't fit. So on the scaling, I can click on it and notice that I say fit sheet into one page. So I click on that and now I only have one page. So what happens here, so you know, is that if you click on page setup, Excel automatically determine the percentage, and it went from 99% to fit one into one page. So you could have just played with the percentage right here. So instead of 99, you can click 99 to see how it looks like. You see 99 works good. But imagine that it didn't work, and I'm gonna increase this intentionally so you know what I'm talking about. So notice that it's still out. So when I go to File and I click on Print, instead of selecting scaling here, I'm gonna go straight to page setup. And on the adjust by percentage, I can say maybe 90, maybe 95 or 96. So you can click OK, and that will give you perfect. You see, so you can actually do that. Be careful with the percentage and scaling, because the ultimate you actually shrinking the font to make it fit. So I would suggest the following technique. Look at the page setup first. Look at the custom margin and try to arrange this so it keeps the right scaling. And if it's too large, then go into scaling, because you shrinking visually the report. Any question? Great. So to play with it, we have 20 more minutes here. So let's add a couple charts from here. Okay, I'm gonna ask you to add it for me. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. So the first, I want you to add 2 charts underneath of here. The first chart is gonna be a chart of employees and net pay. That's what I want you to include. I want you to include those 2 columns. And for chart 2, I want you to select employees and tax percent. Oh, sorry, I missed the 8. Tax percent. Okay, so whatever you want to make, you can make a pie, a bars, whatever you want to make. So, but make sure that you include those what's the requirements. Okay, give you 5 minutes and then I do it with you. Okay, so let me show you how to do those two charts. So chart one, employees and net pay. So the way you do that is you select the employees A4 to A12, release the mouse, hold the control key down, and then select net pay to select two areas for the chart. Then you're going to click on the insert. You can select recommended charts. Notice that it showed me there that I have a, based on my recommendation, they offer me a bar that looks nice. Another version of the bars, funnels, and Pareto, which is a bars and a line indicating the highest. You can also click on the all charts, and over here you get to pick, something else, columns, that column or these thicker columns, or on the lines, and you can actually, they have different versions. You can actually click like this to see which one demonstrate or show what you're trying to convey. Lines, lines is like for stack and for statistical. Pi is too many of them, or to show this, but you can click on the other ones like that. These bars is kind of the more cleanest of them, or either that one looks nice, this one looks a little too busy. Different version. So I'm gonna go with this line first. So I'm gonna click on that, give it a click, and there you have it. I have my list of employees to my left, and over here I have a guy and how much they actually pay. I actually like, because this is kind of hard to read sometimes, I actually click on this guy, delete it, and add the numbers within the labels. So on the labels, I select the numbers usually on the inside or the outside. It's up to you how you want it to show it. The outside looks good. Okay, and you see, and it's more cleaner that way. You want to convey, you want to make sure that you convey the information that you want to do. And over here on the charge title, I double click inside and I say employees net pay. And that can be print, or and give it to my supervisor. So right there, you see, nice. The next one is employees and the task bracket, kind of similar to that, because the task bracket is a smaller number, or you can choose a different format. So we're gonna select again the employees, release the mouse, hold the control key, this time the tax. Go to insert, recommend the charge. Again, they recommend columns or bars, but you can go to all charts and take a look at all the ones. A pie, it looks like this. Bars. So because I have bars right now, I'm gonna choose columns, and I'm gonna choose. Let me see. I'm gonna use this one. Okay. I'm gonna bring it down. Oh, now I'm gonna move this here next to it. I'm gonna label this. And then you see these lines right here. Again, I don't want to see these to make it a little more visible to the, so I can select these lines, delete it. Or you can also click on these little lines right here. These lines, they don't need it because I'm gonna put the numbers there. So you can delete it. Same thing here. I can click on these little lines and delete them. So only show the numbers. And I need to include here the data right there. You can also call it data column, but that is fine. So notice that again, I was able to demonstrate or convey the information that I needed is here. And that's going to be a nice printout. Notice that if it goes over the page break right here, but in this case, I can actually click on this uh, chart and go to the outside edges and shrink it a little bit to be printed. Same thing with this one, shrink a little bit so it's print. Now it's within the, you see, within the page. And then if I click on file, print, notice that is there. I have to delete this. This just was a sample. Great. So we are done with this exercise. Remember that next week is extremely important. We're going to talk about one of the most important part of Excel is cell reference. How to do relative, how to do absolute, how to do mix. And it's extremely important that you understand those before going into a little more elaborated formulas. If you don't understand that, it's going to be very difficult for you to understand. So thank you for attending. Talk to your friends, we have it. This class is going to be a goal, but if you see them, this class could be a friend could take it. Hopefully they need to register. They cannot just attend it like that because of for liability issues. I cannot just let it view it. They will have to be registered. So if you see somebody that needs it, just tell them that they're still taking students. And with that, if there's no question, I'm going to let you go. So if you have questions, stay back, and then I'm going to answer your question. If you don't have any questions, you will, if you like to say this, or because it's in progress, you can just click on the save button. And then for the exercises, try to do the same thing that we just did today. Uh, uh, and then also on chapter 2 is a bunch of exercise that you can do for yourself. Here on the work, let's see. Oh, I can see it. Okay, so I gotta include a Word document. Let's see here. That indicates for the labs. And you can actually do the lab. It's missing, but right now I will put it there after the class, and you can go back to the OneDrive. Or better yet, I just mail it to you. Check your Hancock email is important. Oh no, I am in the wrong place. That's why. This is students, chapter 2. You see this one that says chapter 2 PDF. If you double click, and you see the different exercises, and you can take it step by step. They give you the formulas and all of that. Practice, practice, practice. That's what it makes perfect. Or applying conditional formatting. Oh, that's something that I didn't cover. I didn't cover that really fast. Okay, so I want to automatically select people that actually work 70 or more. So you select the range. And on the home tab, we have a button on the styles called conditional formatting. So over here, we click on it and notice that say highlight sales rules when something is greater than, less than, between, equal to. So we want it to be what? 70 or greater. So we're going to say greater than. So give it a click. And over here, because we want it greater than 70, we cannot just put 70 because it has to be greater than 70. So we can say 69 is a little trick and it captures 70. Everybody see what I did? So you put 69 and over here you can then select maybe a different color that you like based on the format. And then you click OK. And that is dynamic. It's not that I selected those and highlighted. So if the 81 changes to now 69, look what happens. Green suit will not be highlighted. So this is dynamic. So it's more powerful than this conditional formatting. So it's one exercise. That's the basic. But in this exercise, I think it's the standard exercise. I want you to try that because it goes into multiple formatting option. This one right here. This one we're gonna do in class 2. It's called the extended your knowledge. Make sure that you do that, and you also do lab 1 for the next week exercise. So how was it today? Was it fun? So like to don't
It was interesting.